Do tell, my friend.
I just had a whole thing last night.
Where did you go?
Well, Jared's out of town.
Okay.
And then Collins was with her friends last night. So and then I was like, I'm really close to what I call the gonorrhea.
Same.
That would be the galleria. And I've wanted to go try on the suit because I need to be more like Abs. But anyway, I decided to go out to the gonorrhea and I'm walking around. And I don't know if y'all have ever done this. JP hasn't. Maybe you have.
I hate shopping. So if it's shopping related, probably not.
Well, it has to do with a mirror and a reflection.
I hate mirrors and reflections. Go ahead.
And I walked by and I looked at myself and I was startled. You're like, that can't be me. Girl, you look homeless. What are you doing out in public? And it just, how I've always wanted a billboard? I kind of decided last night, we have no business having a billboard, or at least I don't. Because if you have a billboard, you can't go out in public looking like I looked last night.
Why?
It was really traumatizing. And then, it was like I had just finished walking and like my mascara was kind of smeared. My hair wasn't done. And I probably smelled like beef and cheese. And I'm like, you cannot go out like this. Okay. So then I went to having a lot of empathy for public figures. And I thought of Katie Britt.
Yeah.
God love her. How do you can't just like go to the grocery store at 11 o'clock at night because somebody's going to take a picture of you and be like, but maybe that's the genius of it. But I just had this whole, like pull it together Sinclair moment. And I don't know if that's possible.
It is.
But do you ever do that where you just catch a glimpse of yourself and you're like, oh, this is one of those, we need to turn the tides. And would you like a billboard? Pressure.
There is pressure. And I don't know if I admit this out loud or not, but I have had a billboard when I ran for office.
I'm so jealous.
And no, this is 13 years ago. And I can assure you it is not fun.
Does everybody recognize you?
It depends on where you are, but it was just in our community. And I can tell you that the ship has sailed. You're right. There is no just popping out. But there were things that I decided when my kids were little, because you do have that moment where you go, all right, okay, same thing, but maybe you see yourself in another person, or maybe you see yourself and you think, do I present that way? And if so, I'm not going to do it anymore. So yes, but I have had a billboard. There is pressure, not like Katie Britt pressure, same, but very different. But you're right. There's no just dipping out.
I actually had a moment like that Friday, Allison.
Were we somewhere together Friday or?
We were, it was here. So, I mean, I'm a 23-year-old guy, so I dress like a 23-year-old guy too often, sweatpants, like I need to care a little bit more. But recently, like, and honestly, it started like in the last couple of months working with y'all. Like, I'm starting to get to the point where I'm actually like having important meetings and being around like important people at certain things. And I remember we were at a meeting Friday, and I don't know why in the middle of the meeting, I just kind of like looked down and saw I was wearing sweatpants.
You're in your pajamas
and like a plain shirt. And I'm like, this is kind of borderline disrespectful, honestly. We're having this meeting, and I look and everybody else is dressed like adults. And I look around and I had that thought to myself. I was like, I really need to start caring more about what I wear.
Do you know that the better you dress, the more money you make?
And yeah, I hear. But it's one of those things.
Don't start wearing a tuxedo.
I
mean, just at least jeans.
My mentor, for my first job, always said, dress for the job that you want. Also, there's the whole thing. But It is a whole thing. And I just saw a stat on that last week that the people who it's a funny conversation, but it's real. So it's like pressure.
Yeah. And then you go,
Ugh.
because on one hand, you don't want to fall into the trap. Like, even if you are Katie Britt and you need to go to the grocery store and you don't have your makeup on, I mean, shouldn't you just go to the grocery store?
Yeah.
But it's hard.
Yeah.
To do that. And so on one hand, I'm like, well, JP, just be yourself. On the other hand, it's like I tell my kids, I'm like, you can still be yourself and put on a dress to go to church.
Right. And it's different, like for the show, you know, if it's just us and, you know, whatever. But if we're having meetings, important meetings with important, or going out at certain, it's like, at least dress like an adult, you know. But I had that thought to myself Friday. It's funny.
Well, and then you have your work self, and then you have that persona, and then you do have your I'm at home and I've just been out like you can't help where you've just been. But in my life, because if something's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. I'm the person that it's happened to, that I smell like the outside and I run into people, and so it's happened enough that I just
And JP, you're already getting recognized. We were at the State House and somebody in the elevator, literally he walks in and gets on the elevator and they're like, you're JP from the Rightside.
The first,
Didn't say a word to me and Amy Beth.
my first 10 seconds ever in the State House.
well,
funny.
you know
better
what's
get out of
funny
the sweatpants.
is I have noticed it is a more casual culture, but are we better for it?
I don't think so.
Because you look, and I agree, I don't think we're better for being more casual.
Although I'm so glad we don't wear pantyhose anymore.
Pantyhose are from
That
the
was
devil.
Awful. JP, don't you think so?
The devil.
Those pantyhose are awful.
They make
Yeah,
you
like I lived through the
sweat,
pantyhose.
and they're gross. But we are having those conversations with our kids. Like, you know, when Will and Kinsey go on their honeymoon, I think they'll take their, like, we don't know how it's all going to work out because of basketball. But that conversation is, if y'all go traveling, remember, you're going to have to wear your golf clothes everywhere. You know, like it's a bigger conversation. But I noticed, like at Auburn this weekend, kids are super casual. And I'm like, you're not going to get a job dressed like that. Like,
Yeah.
You're just not. And you have to wear actual clothes, and you don't have to wear makeup. Makeup is for the birds, but at least present yourself in a winning manner. And that may be jeans and a t-shirt and flip-flops, but let's stop with the shorts everywhere. That I don't know if you have pants on underneath your long sweatshirt. There, I said it. You know?
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, but it's a cultural situation. So, you know, no, been there, done that, where you just go, oh,
yeah, I just had a night. And then nobody else was there to snap me out of it. It was kind of depressing.
oh, you should have called me.
I should have. Speaking of our kids, though, JP, and you're pretty good at this. The other thing that we need to work on with our kids, and parents, if you're out there, tell me if your kids do this too, is like this all lowercase shorthand texting. Like Jennings won't even type out just. I just get a J. I'm like, you can't do that with an employer. Your 60-year-old CEO is going to be like, are you 4?
Yeah. You know what's funny?
What?
Ever since middle school, I had the uppercase turned off. And when I got working into this, and I started when I was producing for Dale, and I was reaching out to like candidates and important people to come on the show, and I'm texting in all lowercase like a 12-year-old. And after a couple of times doing that, I was like, we need to turn it back on. It's time to grow up. Okay. We're texting important people. I mean, if I'm texting like y'all or like in a casual conversation, I'll do like a you or something if I'm typing fast. But yeah, like if I'm texting somebody important, like I'm punctuation, correctness, capitalization. But yeah, my whole from middle school up until like 3 years ago was the lowercase. I had it on.
It's a whole thing today.
If I'm looking to hire you and you text me like FR for real or bruh
or TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Yeah, I'm not hiring you. Is that bad though?
No, I think that is that's typical of our way too casual culture. What I really think.
Okay. And it's kind of like the sweatpants. Like maybe it's time to to turn on the capitalization and not wear sweatpants.
Yeah.
But it's a progression. You got to get there.
I need a wife
Anyway.
that can help me with my wardrobe.
Well, we're trying,
Because
JP. You're just really picky.
I'm rolling out of bed like 5 minutes before I walk out the door. I'm brushing my teeth, doing deodorant, and then like all right, well, looks good. Okay, and I'm out.
Maybe
Like
get
this.
up, give yourself 10 minutes.
But it feels silly. I was scarred for life because to my growing up school, they've just decided where they want to go on their honeymoon. It's very adorable. Where I went to school, I was stuck in the boat net tops and hose, and we could only wear pants if it was below 32 degrees. And like it always had to be just so, even when you were 5. So it was burned into me. And then my first job, I had to stay dressed all the time. Dressed up, not dressed. But I wanted to clarify, kind of like that day that I said I was a poll worker. So, anywho, but I feel you. And I think as we parent adult people, remind them that you dress for the job that you want. Yes, you're going to have casual weekends. That's like, yes, that cannot be the whole of your life because your brain, they say, if you have your outside clothes and then you change when you get home and you have your inside clothes, that's also a determining factor in future success. I'm going to go find the article. But if the people who do step it up in dressing do make more money, and the offshoot is psychologists have found you feel better about yourself, period. And that's also interesting. So it kind of goes along with it. And kids don't know that today because they were allowed to go to high school in their sweats and PJs. People wear PJs on airplanes where you actually used to have to dress. And then the only place you ever have to get dressed up is if you go to high school graduation or you're going to a wedding, because even churches are so casual today. Nothing drives my husband crazier than these skinny jean wearing worship pastors. And so you miss it all because we're just so, instead of being on purpose, but this has happened to me so many times where I smell really bad. And I get in the car and I'm like, that was completely tragic.
Really should not be out in public.
Or like with your kids and you're having a meltdown when they're little and people are like, hey, Amy Beth. And you're like, hey. I was just screaming at my kids. Did you hear me? In the line at Costco. So yeah.
Hey.
And you do the like shoulder pinch.
Ooh.
Or they say something out loud and you're like, okay, listen, from now on, we have to have the rules. The windows have to be up in the car before you ask me awkward questions. I'll answer them, but don't ask if that person's pregnant because they weren't. Those kind of situations. But
I did that one time as a kid.
Such a good warning. It really is such a good reminder.
Well, I wore my inside clothes outside last night. I have shame.
Don't have shame. You're beautiful.
Should have seen me last night.
Nobody was taking pictures, so like saying Allison Sinclair.
There was no paparazzi.
Allison Sinclair with the right side is out wearing sweats.
No, but I flashed to never have a billboard. Just don't.
We're gonna have a billboard.
Don't put yourself in that situation.
We're gonna have a billboard.
Then you'd have to put lipstick on. Anywho, that was my thing. So it's carried over to this morning. That's why I'm a little bit like
you look
struggling.
Great. You look good in black.
Yeah, that's
and
all
your
I
hair
ever
looks
there.
good.
Oh, I did hot roll my hair this morning because I was trying and I put on too much makeup because I had to try. I just need help, y'all. I need a person. I need an image consultant for old people.
You're not
That's what
old.
I need. Well, I'm older. I'm not 22 anymore. And
You're not.
No,
That's news
in
to
my
me.
brain I am. Spotify tells me I'm 21. But yeah, it's like JP and I both need to grow up a little bit. It's hard though.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
There's certain areas you don't want to grow up.
That's true. But you keep your childlike spirit and verve.
There you go.
Meanwhile,
See?
Amy Beth walks in every day and is freaking on it every day.
On
Wardrobe,
it.
everything.
She's
At least-
already whiteboarded everything this morning.
Yeah, at least we got one adult here.
Guys, we're all adults. I'm a morning person, but then by 3, I need a siesta, and then I get my second wind.
That's not
y'all are
true. When we happened to remember the other day when Grayson called us and just FaceTimed us, and everybody just, it wasn't even planned.
I feel so ashamed right
It's
now.
like 4:00 in the afternoon, and she's baking flatbread.
Yeah.
Oh, just casually making homemade flat. Who does that?
Weirdos. I'm a weirdo.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm weird.
No, you're just on it.
No, I feel every word of what you're saying.
okay. Well, thank you.
I really do. But it's funny that was what was on my feed last week, as if it was just funny that was on my feed. Like, I wear the same jeans every day and I need some new pants. Okay. That's embarrassing.
All right.
I
I'll
wear the
share my
same-
image consultant with you.
I have an idea for us.
Do you know somebody?
Uh-huh.
Is she Miss America? Because that'd be awesome.
Well, I do know her, but I can reach out to her if you want me to as well. But I got some good girls in my brainicle.
All right. We'll take JP with us.
We
Yes.
should. But I love y'all, and y'all are beautiful people, and I love your spirit, and you're very fun to work with.
That's like
Thank you.
saying, well, I mean, is the girl, I'm going to set you up with somebody. Well, is she hot? Well, she's really nice.
What are you saying? You're beautiful, Allison
She's
Sinclair.
really nice.
You're the
She's
Barbie.
funny.
This is so
Oh.
irritating. I always wanted to be blonde.
No.
Yes.
Well, you can be blonde. No, you
no,
probably
I
shouldn't
can't.
do it.
No, I
Don't
tried
do it.
once, and I ended up. Oh, it was tragic.
You're Skipper.
Yeah, I'm Skipper. Was she the one with dark hair?
This is Barbie's little sister.
Oh. Yeah, but still, it's just a whole thing. And let me just say, it is not fun because the other part of it's just not fun. It's hard. It's hard.
I didn't mean to drag
That's-
this on,
It's
but
a good conversation.
JP, let's make a pact. We're going to try.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll
We're just going to try.
make a pack. I will not wear sweatpants at least. Okay, we could do Fridays, maybe. But
Casual Friday.
I won't wear sweatpants to the show or meetings. And what's your
Okay.
pack? What's your end of it? How are you going to try?
Oh, sorry. I'm just a mess. Sorry.
I don't know. Maybe get my outfit together the night before so I'm not rushing. And I mean, nobody sees my tennis shoes, but
Those are
like,
cute.
sometimes, and then I got here and I should whiteboard, but what did I do? I got on the walking pad and started walking. I need to just get here and focus.
Well, no, I that's fine. Maybe just don't embarrass us at the gonorrhea again, please. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding.
I will say, even in that moment of me, I looked better than 90% of the people at the gonorrhea.
It is
So,
true. And
kinda
have you
scary.
ever noticed that the men notice this from now on? This is a running joke between Chris and I. Have you ever noticed, especially at places like the gonorrhea? We don't have our own needless markup, but we do have our own gonorrhea. Neiman Marcus is the men that you see maybe tubby in their chest, but they have great calves. Have you noticed that?
What?
no.
Watch. Everybody
Never noticed
watch.
that.
Chris and I started noticing at the beach one year, and I was like, "How is that?" He actually noticed, and I was like,
Do they
How
like
is that
walk
possible?
the gonorrhea?
"Well, they're walking, and you see like a little tub, and that's fine. Rock the dad bod. This is where we are."
Tub?
But their legs are always sculpted. Like what?
Because they have to carry the tub.
It's true. It's something my husband pointed out when we were riding bikes at the beach a couple years ago. So now everywhere we go, he's like, "Look,
Ah.
see."
Boomers with great calves.
Anywho,
I don't
okay.
think we have time to do any news.
I just extended it about a minute. If we want to do
Sweet.
a
Okay.
quick 5-minute, what's trending?
Okay, what's trending, JP?
We don't go share my screen first.
Yes.
I don't have a screen share.
Here we go.
Here's one I think
Okay.
is interesting. Raising a child to 18 now costs over $300,000 on average.
Mhm.
I'll zoom in a little more. A lending tree analysis, excuse me, using 2024 data from sources like the Census Bureau and BLS pegs the average added cost at $303,418 for a 2-earner household, earning the median $100,000, up 1.9% from last year, and driven largely by rent surging 49% to $1,680 extra monthly.
I think that sounds pretty cheap
$300,000
for 18 years. What, divide
on
that?
average.
Okay, divide that by 8. Divide 300,000 by 18. What does that come out to?
Well, no, it's 300. Wait, is it? I think it's saying per year. Am I wrong?
It's
What?
no, they're saying. I thought that it was for last year.
I think Allison is correct. Actually,
It's like from birth to 18.
yeah. So yeah, that's where it says. Okay, so that's about 16,000, close to 17,000 a year.
So here's my question. When Emmy was little, I think the average cost, or around that age, maybe it was the time that Will and Molly were little, was $181,000. Do you think that that's expensive, but do you think that this is putting these number out here? Oh, it's so expensive to have a child. Is this on purpose to drive down birth rates? I've always been suspicious that it may be, even though this is really interesting information. Do you think that's why they put it out there every year?
To try to discourage people from having kids?
Yeah.
I don't know if every I don't know if the lending tree is purposefully doing that, but I think people maybe twist it to use it, because I remember when I was in college, my college roommates, my friend and his girlfriend, they were like, yeah, we're not having kids. They're married now and in Nashville. We're like, why would we do it? It's so expensive. And they're like, we hate kids. And yeah, it costs so much money. Why we'll just be, so I think, I think people twist it to do that.
I think you could probably use it for any amount. Like if it were $100,000, you could be like, that's a lot. I think it's maybe a good planning tool, honestly, of, okay, having a child. I don't know if you really, it's expensive, but I've never put numbers with it. So maybe it's like, hey, this is what because it goes back and it breaks it down to that the first 5 years are way more expensive than the next years. I would take it as a planning purpose.
Well, real quick before one of y'all wants to go, Margie Taylor Greene actually posted about it. Said the cost of raising a child is over $300,000 on average, up 27% in just the past few years. This is why Americans voted to lower inflation and cost of living and to put America first, and why they are so angry. The focus is on war, driving inflation higher.
Yeah.
So
it's a really interesting conversation. I can see why it's trending, and it just continues to go up. But I also think there are several other factors that are driving the birth rate down, but that's a whopper of a price tag. You look at that and go, like, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
But you got 18 years to find the money.
Well, right. But if you're like a 20-something-year-old and you see that, you get overwhelmed and you're like, I can't afford that.
Yeah. It's called budgeting.
Right. But that's not how the typical, person in the 20s and they
Time to grow up.
Yeah,
get out of the sweatpants and learn to budget.
And the other part is there's nothing like getting married for you to start really looking seriously at a budget. Suddenly it becomes very real and you go, okay. But as a believer, God also provides. But he provides because 100%. You work hard. Even if you have nothing. Because we didn't have 2 pennies to rub together when we had our first 2 kids. We had nothing. And God still provided. So I hope that doesn't hold people back.
Yeah.
That was just for free.
Kids probably don't need all that was included in that anyway.
No, they don't.
No.
Plus, they like to play with like boxes that the fridge comes in.
Well, not anymore. Like these 10-year-old girls have better skincare regime, obviously, clearly, than I do. It's insane. Like I watch what my niece gets for Christmas. What? And everything has to be Lululemon, which apparently is killing us all. It's just insane. Okay, so do we want to finish this on the other side, or what do we want to do?
Yeah, I think we can briefly do it on the other side if we're getting to the montage.
Because mine is about what's happening in Montgomery. It's trending on Yellowhammer. Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back.
We are joined by election integrity expert, Dr. Douglas Frank. We're thrilled to have him back with us. This time, we have a little more time for him to lay out just exactly what's going on, and what he has to share will blow your mind. Welcome.
great to be with you ladies again. That was a fun interview last time, so I'm glad to be back.
It was fun. And now we have more time to dig in. When you left last time, we both looked at each other and were like, oh, my word. Because for years, we've been told that Alabama is the gold standard in election integrity. And apparently, we have some things we can work on.
Every state says they're the gold standard. It's like I think all the secretaries of states get together in some conference and say, let's all agree we're all the gold standard or something like that.
Yeah. Well, tell
Seems like it.
us a little bit about yourself before we really get into some of the data and the things that you've discovered. How did you get started in this? What is your background?
Sure. I'm a physicist. I was in the lab for 40 years, basically. And when I came out of the lab, I was like, what happened to my country? And what really brought me out was COVID. It was the COVID pandemic. I was teaching at a special school for high IQ kids. And one of my kids was a Chinese exchange student from Wuhan. And in November of 2019, I was teaching differential equations class, and he said, Dr. Frank, can we learn how to model epidemics? And so I began teaching how to model epidemics in December of 2019. And then the Wuhan epidemic took off, and we modeled it, and then I was modeling it in America. So everybody got to know me across the country because of my COVID modeling. I was modeling every country, every county in the country, and 30 countries, and I had like 150,000 people coming to my websites every week to how many people are going to die this week in our county. I mean, it seems morbid, but it's all mathematical. Epidemics are mathematical things. And so that kind of brought me into the public eye. I was in the public eye once before because I was nominated for a Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1990 for one of my discoveries that got on the cover of Science and Nature and things like that. So
What did you discover?
Yeah. You can't leave us hanging
Yeah,
like that.
I mean,
I didn't
just
need to do that to you.
casually.
Sorry about that. Well, I figured out a way to make three-dimensional images of molecules, and it's
Okay.
the first time anybody had done that, and so it looks cool. It's so it looks good on covers of magazines, and brought me a lot of attention. For about a year, I was traveling the world teaching people how I figured that out, and then I left academics in 1996 because it was too political for me. It was disgusting to me. I didn't like
You
it.
were ahead of the curve.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
truly.
in 1996, we thought the world was great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I was in Cincinnati too, and Mark Twain wrote about Cincinnati. He said, when the end of the world comes, he wants to be in Cincinnati because everything happens there 10 years later.
Oh,
it's true. I had family who lived in Cincinnati. That's a great place.
Oh, yeah. And it was a great place for me to raise my kids and everything. And I'm still out there in the country. We've moved further out in the country now. So I have a lab out there. That's where I'd be right now, being a physicist out in the country, except that then the election happened and Mr. Lindell discovered me, and then Mr. Trump. And so it's like now I've been thrust into this debate on elections. And I guess one of the next big thing was that when Pennsylvania did their audit, Doug Mastriano asked for an audit at the end of November of 2020. I was brought in as one of the 6 people that did their state audit because I'm a numbers guy, and they knew I was a numbers guy because they'd seen my COVID stuff. So that's really what thrust me in. Then Mr. Lindell discovered, he made a documentary about me called Scientific Proof. It was his second documentary. And then Trump featured me at his first rally after he was out of office in Wellington, Ohio. So suddenly tens of millions of people knew who I was, and everybody was saying, Dr. Frank, come help us, come help us. And here I am. Although in those days, we thought it was just going to be a 6-month job.
Yeah.
All
for
we
sure.
have to do is show everybody what's going on, and everybody's going to go, "Oh no, we have a problem. I got to fix it." That's what we thought. And I spent most of 2021 meeting with secretaries of states, AGs, hacking into their elections right in front of their faces, showing them that they were not the gold standard they thought they were, and it was quite a eye opener for me. I mean, when I'm a scientist, to me, you set up an experiment, you get the evidence, you present the evidence, and everybody goes, "Okay, now we do this." I was just assuming if I show everybody the evidence, that they would react accordingly.
Why don't they react accordingly?
I think there are multiple reinforcements of the current system. The first one is the oldest story ever. Since when does government relinquish power to the people? Governments centralize power. And right now in our country, the elections in every state are centrally controlled. They've been steadily, incrementally over about the last 25 years, just become centralized. Your own local clerks don't control or do anything anymore. They think they do, but they don't. And so that's a strong motivation. Also, it centralizes the outcomes of your elections. I said electrons. You put me in science mode there for a minute, and so because I was using.
No one blames
You
you.
want to go back to simpler times. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I since I was a boy, I read Wrinkle in Time when I was in 3rd grade, and
Welcome back to the Right Side. I am Amy Beth Shaver with Allison Sinclair and JP. We are wrapping up our morning quick hit on what's trending on Twitter. Allison, what you got?
I have a Yellowhammer article by Grace and Everett, and it's something that we all kind of noticed, but we didn't talk about yesterday, was the bloodshed of Montgomery over the weekend. 4 dead, 3 critical after a weekend of bloodshed. Didn't know that verbiage was in there too. But the police chief is saying that public safety belongs to the legislature and the judges. So one of the injured includes a young girl. It's really tragic. And I don't know if I didn't really pay attention because what's happening in Montgomery happened this weekend is like, meh, it happens every weekend. But what's interesting is that this session, there was a bill, Senate Bill 298, carried by Will Barfoot that would have required a minimum staffing number in the Montgomery police office or the Montgomery district. I think, so it passed the Senate, made it to the House, and I really think they sine-died, which means they shut the whole session down right before this bill was supposed to come up, which is kind of interesting. Ironically, it would have established, right now, the Montgomery Police Department employs between 220 and 230 officers, well below the 380 to 400 the bill would have required. What's interesting is Mayor Stephen Reed and Chief Grayboys both oppose the bill. But the chief is saying that, quote, we're the most visible part, and we're also the part that goes out and tells the public that this is who committed this crime, and this is who we're charging. But then the rest of the public safety piece in reducing crime also has to belong to the legislature with the laws they pass, and also the judges with the decisions that they make in regards to the suspects that we are arresting, because we can arrest them, but it's the justice system that's going to hold them. So those things need to go into it as well. So he's complaining that the legislature and the judges need to do something about this, but they oppose the bill, and maybe that's why it died. I don't know why the House would not pass this. Montgomery is about to get the National Guard. I know Tuberville spoke something about it today. I didn't read the article, but he basically said help is on the way. Why wouldn't you pass that small measure just to do, a little something to help? And I know, and I've heard that Stephen Reed, the mayor of Montgomery, takes 2 of his officers. One sits out in front of his house every day, and one picks up his son from school. So obviously they're not doing something right. They're not taking this seriously, because we have 4 people dead and 3 people injured over the weekend. But why push it back on the legislature and then tell the legislature not to do what you're asking them to do? It's very weird. Montgomery's in a world of hurt.
Many thoughts, but that is correct. They are in a world of hurt.
People are literally dying, and everybody seems to be so casual about it.
You remember the story about my sister-in-law being in Montgomery near Dirty Dillard's and having to get her kids underneath a car because there was gunfire just a tiny bit down the road?
Yep.
So nothing is going to change, sadly, until it hits the doorstep of the people who are making decisions. And I mean, the people in Montgomery. Stephen Reed doesn't care. I mean, maybe the tires on the people sitting out front of his house will have to get shot out. Like, I don't know. But not to take care of Montgomery and to pretend nothing's going to happen and not doing good when you have the chance to do good and to do right doesn't make sense unless you just don't care and you just don't want to.
Yeah, it's weird. His comments don't match. I mean, they both said that was government overreach for them to require that.
Okay, guys.
But you want to pass the blame off on the legislature and the judges. Okay.
But okay. Well, you know what? And the people put up with it. And that's the other part, in Montgomery.
Montgomery.
That's right. All right. I don't know if you guys saw this story. It is not from Twitter. It's actually from Not the Bee, because sometimes they have really great stuff. But interviewers have a creative new way to filter out North Korean spies applying for tech jobs. Have you seen this? JP, have you seen this?
I did actually. I saw the video.
Is it funny?
It's amazing, because what happens is these guys are applying for tech jobs, and then in the interview process, the tech companies have figured out that these are people from North Korea and they don't want them to work for their company. And so the way that they're figuring out, even though they're trying to pass themselves off as being from South Korea or whatever other country right there, by saying, no, I'm not from North Korea, is they get them to say Kim Jong-un is a big fat pig. Or repeating Kim Jong-un, blah, blah, blah. Like, I watched a guy and they go
that's
silent.
awesome.
They pretend like they're frozen because they freeze up.
Like they're
Or the interview is abruptly over. And so the circle of death starts on their forehead and then it's gone. But that is a very creative way to find out if you are a
That's
North
hysterical.
Korean spy. I loved it. I was like, bravo. But these people want to have a job, but they can't because they're from North Korea. And they have people watching them all the time.
That's hysterical.
So I thought that was just goofy, but also hilarious.
I think that what could we do for to test if you're truly a conservative or not?
Oh boy.
Think about that one. Maybe text us.
What's the
Chat
test?
what's the question that you ask to see if you're an actual conservative? I bet that'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Love
Think about
that question.
I don't know. It's hard to sum it up one. Because the right today is falling apart. I hope we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we are.
Unforced errors here. So unnecessary.
We fall for it every time.
We fall for it every time.
Okay. JP, is it time?
It is time for our montage.
Okay.
Time for news.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as the doctor.
Well, first of all, Brett, I think the president was posting a joke, and of course he took it down because he recognized that a lot of people weren't understanding his humor in that case.
Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez announcing he will retire from Congress tomorrow amid allegations of having an improper relationship with a staffer. That coming about an hour after Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell said he would resign over allegations of sexual assault.
I say first say you're mad. I mean,
Mad?
yeah.
I am no longer a Democrat. I'm now a libertarian Republican. Because that's what a blue dog Democrat used to be. It's called executing, being accountable, enforcing, respect, responsibility, and results. Making this country great. The great brand we have, okay? They want to have men playing in women's sport. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't, I'll bet you do.
No, I'm here about
Pizza.
no tax on tips.
Yeah, okay.
So to provide a little bit of context, they unfortunately didn't say it in the video, but the guy who said he's no longer a Democrat is billionaire Stephen Klubeck, who was a former and major donor of Eric Swalwell. And that was his response to Eric Swalwell, the allegations and him resigning, is saying he's now no longer a Democrat because of it.
That's fabulous. And what I hope is not only that people wake up, because it seems to be happening, but that this will be the beginning of a flood of other resignations and of other men and women keeping it together as far as the sexual promiscuity, whatever you want to call it. It gets disgusting. These are only two people, and that's the tip of the iceberg. But I was thrilled to see that guy saying, now I'm a libertarian Republican. Great. This is great.
Which is correct. That's exactly what an old school Democrat was. So,
yeah.
Is it too much to ask our women just to stay out of the cages?
Yeah. How about you tell people what is alleged? Because I think that Anna Paulina Luna is out there talking not necessarily about that, but there have been allegations about this.
Well, I mean, George Santos talked about it, before he went to prison. And everybody just kind of blew it off. He talked about it again. Ironically, he must listen to the show because he talked about it again yesterday.
Literally right when we were talking about it.
Yeah, weird.
He's listening. Hey,
Weird.
George, call in.
But he named names of people. There are these rooms, like storage rooms, in the bottom floor of the house office buildings where they keep like the furniture that they take to and extra filing cabinets and stuff. But everybody calls them cages, and apparently that's where everybody goes in DC. And he listed names of the rumors he had heard of who frequents the cages. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe some of those aren't illegal. It's not Fang Fang. It's just some intern. I'm sure she's legal. But can we just not? Like, it's like, it just be respectful. But now we've got Tony Gonzalez, who, this is my question for y'all. He had an affair with a staffer. She got pregnant. She set herself on fire and killed herself in her front yard. He's been there for how much longer after all this happened? So why now? Why all of a sudden is it bad now and he's resigning now? I know that there was pressure to expel all these people. It's just so hypocritical to me, where it's like, so it didn't matter 2 months ago, but now it does. And Fang Fang the spy doesn't matter, but now it does. And your Democrat, did you see Tom Steyer's at like 53% odds shot straight up to win the Democrat nominee now in their weird California primary? But why is he stepping down now?
I have a theory.
What is it?
Remember when they were trying to censure Gonzalez and oh no, it was excuse me. Republicans were trying to censure the Democrat who was caught texting with Epstein during the committee hearings, and they were like, okay, well, if you do that, we'll censor Gonzalez. And then there was a deal made of like, okay, we'll censor neither. So I think the Democrat leadership, when they were like, we'll only force Swalwell to resign if you make Gonzalez resign, and we'll call it even. And you're like, okay. I think that was the deal. That's what I think. Why now?
I think they were invited to leave. They don't care. If they did care, they wouldn't have been cheater, pumpkin eaters. And I think they left so that some of their other friends who were doing the exact same thing said, you got to get out of here. Because if you don't, they're going to start looking at me. But I do believe that the Democrats led the charge because they needed Eric out, because they really want to win in California. And if he didn't leave, then they were going to be toast. And then the Republican, and then they're like, all right, but our guy leaves, your guy leaves. It was a pact. But the Democrats led the charge on the pact.
But where does it end? Because are they going to keep going? Because there are so many there are the two other people, the Democrat chick that, what was her thing? And then Corey Mills is out there too.
Oh, what a biscuit.
Yeah, Corey Mills is a really bad one.
He's bad. You know what? TMZ has set up shop in DC. I don't think this ends anytime soon. I hope that it is the tip of the iceberg. No one wants to be found out. They're all doing it, especially the ones who protest, like Elon said it about something different. Those who are protesting the most and the loudest, look at them first, because then they hope you'll just look away. But now that when I saw that TMZ is there, I'm like, oh, things just got interesting. Yeah, but it's both sides, everybody. Like we said yesterday, please, before you go, it's the Democrat. It's both sides.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, if you think that people in DC all of a sudden got their, I'm not saying y'all do, but if people are seeing this and saying, oh, well, they're resigning, we're finally having some morality in DC. Yeah, no, it's all game. and it's to keep things even. We'll only force Swallow to resign. You make Gonzalez resign. We'll call it even, because that's just how gross DC is. Just like how they didn't censor neither Gonzalez or the Democrat representative, because like that's just the game it is. It's not about morality or the victims. It's about power. And so that's why I think that's why.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Do we want to talk Trump versus Riley Gaines real quick?
Yeah, it wasn't in the montage.
Well, it was. I was the Trump saying that he was actually saying he was a doctor. I was hoping we could segue that into that bigger conversation.
It's funny that he would do this now, because he just tried to get the no tax on tips lady. Which, by the way, do you think he ate that McDonald's, or do you think he gave it to his staffers?
Oh, he definitely ate it.
So she wouldn't talk about the men and women sports, like fun. Okay, haha, fun. She brought McDonald's to the White House. Great. But I, he did try to ask her about men and women's sports, meaning they probably told her you can't even. That may be the question about being a Republican or not. How do you feel about men and women's sports?
Well, DoorDash probably didn't want.
But DoorDash probably said, listen, lady, I know how you feel, but you just deliver the food and zip it. But then ironic that was the question he asked, considering the person he decided to pick on. That was ironic.
Yeah, he's just not having the greatest week. I think these are a lot of self-sabotage. I think we were texting last night after all this with Riley Gaines, because I do want to read her response. Or there's a video. I haven't watched the video, though. Her written response was amazing. But is he that? I mean, you're taking on the Pope, which is totally pointless. The Pope can actually believe whatever he wants to believe. Let the Catholic Church fight that one out with their Pope, with whether they agree with him or not. Then he goes after Riley Gaines. He posts a picture of him as Jesus, which, by the way, when have you ever seen doctors wear a robe and some sort of like color scarf around themselves?
Hippocrates.
Yeah, I guess
like
back in the
hundreds of
Hippocratic oath.
Yeah, that long ago.
Because and then to have the shining light and your doctors do. Did you see? Oh, there was a stupid influencer that was like, oh, he's got his light to look into his ear.
No,
no, I'm not kidding.
This light looks at your throat, or my husband uses it to put up your backside.
Yeah. Well,
so does he even know why he's holding a light?
No. Well,
that just makes me laugh.
Yeah, and doctors generally don't get to light up your forehead with their palm. I mean, it's just, by the way, that looks like Mike Huckabee back there.
Totally looks like Mike Huckabee.
But is he that petty and just his ego is so big right now that he cannot stand what is coming against him? Or is he somebody feeding him? Like either option is not good. But is somebody telling him that this is a good idea? You should do this.
I think what I heard was that he doesn't even go through anybody. He just posts what he wants. But I think he truly believes I'm helping people. And this is just my latest post of me helping people. Look, isn't AI fun? Like, I don't even think he's thinking any of that. I don't think he's that leveled in his thinking. Like,
so he didn't see Jesus?
No. When he said it, you're like, oh, you really thought you looked like a doctor.
Don't doctors wear like lab coats? And like maybe a stethoscope instead of some.
And they got like their pads sticking out so they can, write. Well, not really write scripts anymore because they just email it. But still, when I watched him, I thought, oh my gosh, he really thought he thinks he's helping people.
So does he get a pass?
He took it down. That is the farthest he will go.
Okay.
As far as, oops, I made a mistake. But whoever was able to tell him, take it down, Donald John Quavius Trump. Take it down, Don. That person, we need to know who they are, because that's the one we need to go through in the future when he puts up dumb
why
stuff.
Why has he got to take it down and then go after Riley Gaines? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no.
so dumb.
He's bored. They're going to come
So
back
dumb.
together and he's going to read her beautiful response and go, that was really dumb. Next, he's going to invite her to the White House for some kind of not apology session.
No, I think he genuinely thought it was Jesus. I think he's got people around him that talk to him like he is, and I think he genuinely didn't think anybody would have a problem with it if he posted it. And then I think after when the outrage came out, people were like, "Say you were a doctor," and that's what that was personally. And in terms of the attacking Riley Gaines, I think he's just at a point where he can't take any criticism. That's my honest opinion on it. I think you could be correct, but
What was he criticizing her about? Did she criticize him? I just missed the whole kerfuffle because I'm like, really? What are you doing now, Donald John Quavius?
I'm gonna push this break like 2 minutes so we can talk
Okay.
about this further.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, what Riley Gaines put up a post first about it. I don't know if you have that one up, Allison, or not. I can pull it up.
Well, what did he say that started this, that she had to respond? Well, yes, she put up a post that said, oh, I read it yesterday.
Yeah, I'll pull up that tweet again. She said, "Why? Seriously, I cannot understand why he'd post this. Is he looking for a response? Does he actually think this? Either way, two things are true. One, a little humility would serve him well, and two, God shall not be mocked." So then he did an interview with CBS News's Nora O'Donnell, and she asked him if Riley Gaines' comments played a role in him taking it down, and he said, "No, I didn't listen to Riley Gaines. I'm not a big fan of Riley Gaines, actually."
Oh, you're such a biscuit.
So then I don't know if you wanted to read Riley Gaines' response to that.
Yeah, she said, this is so good. She said, I love the president and I'm so grateful he's in the Oval Office. Of course, I'll continue to support him and the America First agenda. At the end of the day, I do nothing for the approval of man. Our purpose on this earth is to glorify him, God, not Donald Trump, in all we do. The Truth Social post missed the mark. It's now deleted. Amazing. We're imperfect people. I know I am. I don't get my feelings hurt easy. And I know the president it's really not with the president. It's really not personal. I want to spend eternity in a real place called heaven. I'd love for Trump to be there too. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I'll keep doing my part by speaking truth and doing my best to lead others to Christ. And then she said, and no, I won't be selling merch with his insults on them. Could you get any classier?
No.
And I don't know, how do you, okay, if Trump comes back and pokes her again, I'll be done. You can't.
He's not going to.
She's like America's sweetheart. It was dumb to poke her in the first place. I don't know if that's the right word to use. But doesn't get any classier.
No, super classy response. Very foolish. He was ashamed of what he did. And instead of saying, I am sorry, he responded like all good narcissists do.
Yeah, it's like I'm sorry you misunderstood. That's the JD Vance part, and I understand he's the vice president. He has to say stuff like this.
He do.
But his he took it down because clearly nobody else got the joke. It's like, I'm sorry, dude. Christ comes before every political side that I'm on. So no, it's not a joke to put yourself as Jesus. And you guys didn't understand the joke. It's not a joke. It's blasphemy. So that I don't know. I can be the more cynical part of the discussion because I genuinely think Trump just didn't see an issue with it. It's like, yeah, I mean, everybody around me talks, like, nobody have an issue with it. And then it was damage control of, sorry, you didn't understand the joke, but I'll take it down. And no, I actually never liked Riley Gaines. It's like, dude, come on,
Yep.
But
yep.
Well, and on the heels of the Palm Sunday, Jesus came as a king riding on a donkey. Some people call me a king.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
I think that was what the truth post was.
Mm.
Like he's just in his echo chamber. It's like,
yeah,
everybody says I'm a king. So I don't know.
Not cool.
No.
What else do we have? Oh, can we explore the space of Blue Dog Democrat a little bit more?
Yeah.
And just how far left the left has gone.
And then we have a guest at 11:10.
Angela Shepard, who just passed. Well, Joe Lovern carried her bill, the post-election audit bill, which she has been working on for 4 years finally went to the governor's desk yesterday, so she will give us an update on that right after this. We'll be back.
To have my own physics lab in the country. I do. And that's where I'd be, but except my country went away. And so I have to, I'm a patriot. I have to fight for my country. You can't, there are people dying for the freedoms we have. And I think it's our civic duty to step up and do our job. I mean, think about it. All these years I got to get government funding and scholarships to do all this great science work. It's like I'm a blessed life. So it's my tour of duty, my turn to help.
Before we dig into Alabama numbers and kind of what you're finding here, give us an overview, because you travel the country.
Yes.
You meet with lots of different groups in different states. Nationally, what are you seeing? Are we trending in the right direction? Are we making headway on a national scale? And then let's drill down and talk about what's going on in Alabama.
I think the first principle people need to understand is that there isn't one legislature in this country that wants election reform. There isn't one. Every single one is going the opposite direction. And so, like, for example, when I'm in Oregon, everybody says, oh, it's those evil Democrats. But here I am in Alabama, and you guys are like super red. And yet your legislature is trying to pass laws to make it even harder to audit your elections. What's going on here? And you would think that in the reddest legislatures or reddest states, they would want to fix their elections. But you have a bill right now before your legislature trying to make it even harder for people to have access to your voter rolls. And you're already the second least transparent state in the country in terms of your elections. So it's like that's an eye-opener to people. Everybody wants to think that, oh, sure, certainly our legislature, this is a red state, so certainly they'll want to fix it. And no, it doesn't work that way. That's a big mind change for people to recognize that.
Are you speaking about the bill to reduce fees?
Yes.
Okay, how does that make it more difficult?
So the bill was, as it was originally proposed, was going to take information out. So they were saying, we're going to make it cheaper, but we're going to give you, it took out the critical information. And you're already not giving the, for example, I've been working with your teams here. I just came from Mobile and I came from Autauga, and they're complaining, Dr. Frank, this is really hard. And it is, because in other states, they give you tons more information than you get here. And you have to pay for it. And it's limited already, and they wanted to limit it even more. It should be exactly the opposite. If you go to Ohio, for example, or go on their Ohio website, Secretary of State website, just click. You can download it for free. Go to Florida, click, download it for free. Way more information for free. But in your state, you have to pay exorbitant fees for less information, and they wanted to make that even less information.
So is it because it's back to what you said at the beginning? You've presented the evidence, they ignore it, it's centralized, it's layered. I mean, is it all of those things, or is there something that's specific to Alabama in addition to, we see that they're not transparent. We've experienced that.
Yeah.
Like, what else are we missing?
I think the main thing we're missing is that people have become conditioned into waiting for somebody else to fix the problems. You're too young, you don't remember, you ladies, but when I was a boy, we ran our own elections. The PTA moms walked the precincts, and the parties, the Republican and Democratic.
Hey, you guys.
These guys.
You're at the right side. I'm Amy Beth, and she's Allison, and he's JP. And at 11:10, we have Angela Shepard. She'll be our guest to talk about, and I'm going to ask her the question I'm asking other people. But this is great news. This is a really good thing. But before we do that, let us discuss something that I've heard family members lament, and that is that Democrats of old were blue dog Democrats.
Okay, pause. What the hell county is a blue dog Democrat? Can we look up a ChatGPT or some Webster's dictionary definition? And what is a yellow dog Democrat?
So blue dog Democrat, this is according to House.gov, the Blue Dog Coalition is an official caucus in the U.S. House of Representatives composed of fiscally responsible, pragmatic Democrats who represent moderate to conservative districts. Formed in 1995, they focus on reducing the federal deficit, strong national defense, and bipartisan solutions, often bridging ideological extremes.
Do they have like 2 people in it?
It's still a caucus.
Is that a thing?
I think it still is.
Wow.
According to the House.gov.
Hey, that's impressive.
So socially, they might be kind of liberal, but fiscally, they are conservative, limited government.
Yes. And a yellow dog Democrat is a term for a fiercely loyal member of the U.S. Democratic Party, historically originating in the South, who would vote for any candidate on the Democrat ticket, even a yellow dog or a worthless cur, over any Republican. This term arose from intense post-Reconstruction and 1928 era party loyalty.
So I have heard my husband say that his people from Troy were, this is years ago, when it was pro-life wasn't even in the conversation because it was just understood, but that they were blue, just good old blue dog Democrats, libertarian Republicans these days. And then we learned from our friend Steve Flowers that there were parts of Troy and little offshoots of that community where you could go and get, pay for your votes. But in the area where his family lived, where Chris's family lived, you couldn't get them to give you their ballot or pay them for anything, which I was like, I'm proud of that. But it is a word that is tossed around in the South between blue dogs and yellow dogs. And I've heard people tell me before, there's not blue dogs. I'm like, yes, they're both. One is never going to do anything but vote for Democrat. Blue is that you are physically, not physically. That's odd. Conservative as far as economics in the country are concerned.
Would that be like a Joe Manchin?
Yeah.
Kind of those.
And Joe Lieberman, remember him?
Lieberman?
You remember
Was he a Democrat or was he
He had been a
independent?
Democrat and then he was an independent. He's, long gone. But people really liked him because he could work with both sides. But that ship has sailed.
Well, maybe not if what's his face in California is coming back. Klubeck. And I kind of feel like some of the Republicans are a little bit defecting too. I don't know if they're going, but there are a lot of Republicans that are so disenfranchised or disillusioned and being disenfranchised by what they see as the Republican Party that I can see them all merging as like independents, libertarian, something. I don't know. I don't think that's good. I think we got to reclaim. It's why Trump's rhetoric against the Catholic Church and the Pope is so damaging. You can't start losing. MAGA's already split. I think MAGA might be done. I don't know what MAGA is anymore.
MAGA's Trump.
Okay, MAGA is like blind Trump loyalty.
Which you could make the argument that's what it always was. And a lot of people were envisioning Trump. Well, Trump did say a lot of things that appealed to the crowd you're talking about, more of the independent leaning crowd of Republicans. But ultimately, MAGA has always been Trump. But I think Trump now is doing maybe not what that crowd likes. So when Trump says, well, I am MAGA, even though it may be frustrating, he's technically correct. I mean, he coined the term. That's always been him. It's just we've always liked what Trump was before. But now Trump is, I don't know what he's doing lately. But it's like when you get mad, it's like, well, I've always been MAGA. And he's technically right. So that's the frustrating part. So what does a post-MAGA Republican Party look like is the question.
I said it yesterday, but apparently it only takes 15% of a population to change something. And it's going to take 15%, starting with the 1%, then the 3%, and then the 12%. That's how that adds up to get to 15. The first buy-in, the second group of buy-in, and then that rest, to remember that we're about the principles. And sometimes the people line up and sometimes they don't. But right now, as people are converting over, you want to say to them, don't get lost in Trump is everything. You can't. We have to get lost in these are our principles and this is what we're for. And we have to be for that over the people because we don't always agree with the people.
Yeah.
We don't always think they're awesome and amazing. And I know MAGA people are like, are a little aghast that we would criticize Trump, but that's real. Otherwise, people don't believe you that you're with that person all the time. You're
Otherwise,
just
you
not.
are in a cult.
Yeah,
and
you
all
are.
the things they
You
say
are.
about.
And listen, there may be truth to what happened with a couple of the Democrats stoking the fire over the last weekend and the Catholic Church kerfuffle. And then the Catholic Church goes and says and tries to make a comparison between Islam and Catholicism. That's an unforced error, because what I've noticed now is that the Catholics are coming out going, no, we're not the same. And so when he's criticizing the Catholic Church, it's a little bit like becoming a newlywed and your mother reminding you, girls, you've heard this before, boys, you've heard this before. Let the person that has that last name make the comments to their parents. You don't say anything about them. Let the child say something if there's an issue in the future. That's what I feel like Trump has done.
Yeah.
When it comes to the Catholic Church. And then some other things this last week. Not a good week for him.
Well, I can just tell you the Trump supporting Catholics in my family aren't happy about it. I talked to one family member last night who is a devout Catholic and supports Trump. And she was like, you don't go after the Pope. And what's funny is my grandfather, who recently passed away, was Trump. He was the type that was arguing with everybody on Facebook about Trump. And he was a Catholic. She said, I wonder what your papa would think about this. And I sat in that moment. I was like, that's a great question. I don't know, because it is you don't go after the Pope, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So
yeah, you got to be part of the family to say anything.
Yeah.
And even then you got to be careful. But now they've made an unforced error and now it is turning into a thing. Let that handle itself.
Good point. Do we have Angela on?
she's not on it.
Okay. Yeah. I just wonder if some of like these blue dog Democrats and Stanley Klubeck. Do we have a chance to capture, if we do lose the entire Catholic base, which we won't, but there are going to be some people that this will be enough to be like, I'm out.
Yep.
Do we have a chance of getting some of those votes in the midterms?
If we work hard right now.
Because I think they're so disillusioned. I don't know why disenfranchised by the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Like, you promised all this. You look at what's happening in New York City. You look at what's happening in California. It's a literal poop hole. San Francisco is poop everywhere. And like, nobody's doing anything about it. And they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Your governor just spent $126 billion on a high-speed train to nowhere. Like, y'all are getting fleeced every time you turn around. So maybe we have some hope of pulling some of those people, because Klubeck seems like a smart, driven businessman. Like, he understands economics and he understands like that everything is kind of a give and take. And okay, so you can have the most like crazy progressive socialist, communist, LGBTQ, MWMM2, whatever. But if you can't put food on the table, it's kind of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Maybe we pick up some of the old Trumpy. Well, and that's what Trump used to be.
I think we can. I think people will have to decide that that's what they want to do and focus more on the policies and principles, drawing a comparison between what the Democrats used to agree with, but what they agree with now, what they're allowing to happen. Like, just stick with immigration, stick with fraud, and stick with what you are willing to allow as a Democrat for children to do to their bodies. Just stick with that. And then contrast that with a couple of things they're going to agree with, like pick it, immigration reform for one, and draw that contrast and you'll be okay. But you got to go after those votes now or it will be too late, and just hammer it all throughout the summer.
Do you think he wants, like, part of me wonders, No, this is my tinfoil hat coming out. Is he trying to lose?
No, he's not trying to lose. He's gotten undisciplined in his message.
Well, think about he didn't have to win another election.
Well, I mean, is he like so? I can see him being so petty, like with the Senate not doing and passing his agenda, which the House can't do. Fine. Y'all didn't. I put my butt out there. I took bullets for you. I went to jail and had mugshots for you. I did all this. I took all these arrows, all these years, and y'all can't do this? Screw you. Good luck.
I think,
Yeah.
by the way, if we want to go to Angela after this, but I think he didn't have to win another election himself. So it's almost like
Maybe he doesn't care.
it's Trump over well, obviously he wants to win the midterm because he don't want to get impeached, but I think Trump takes priority over even the Republican Party at this point.
Well, because and here's where he has the right to do that. He's got the chutzpah to do it.
Right. He won.
He won. He's the one, like Allison said, that's taken bullets. He's the one whose life was completely upended and destroyed. He's the one who had hundreds of millions of dollars worth of judgments thrown at him that he's supposed to repay. And he's the one who has given to an extent, his fortune and his sacred honor. And of course, he's going to be frustrated with the lame Republicans who can't do jack squat because they don't want to. And so at some point, I do think he goes, all right, have it your way. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm tired of doing everything for you.
But I think what he has to do is remind people, this is what I've done. Like he has to do it. Instead of stupid Truth Social post, here's what I've done for you, and here's what your Republican Party won't do. Just compare and contrast, and he'll come out smelling like a rose. A perfume of rose, by the way.
Or McDonald's.
Or McDonald's. Filet of fish.
Ugh.
You choose. I knew you'd love that.
Ugh.
But that's what I would do if I were giving him advice.
I'm sure he's listening.
I bet he is listening. He's probably mad at us too.
Donnie.
Donald John Quavius.
Chippy. Scotty and Donnie. Okay, Angela Shepherd's on.
Okay.
She is on.
All right. Hey, Angela.
Hi.
Oh, you look beautiful in blue.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I had to do this from my car. I had just left a ribbon cutting. So anyway, thank you for letting me come on today.
Actually, all the cool people do it from their cars. So it's like you're important, you're on the road. And you just left a ribbon cutting?
Yeah.
Because you're running for Auburn. There you go.
Well, it's actually Lee County Commission.
Lee County,
so it's right. But a lot of people don't know that they vote for county commission in Auburn because Auburn annexed so much into the county now that a lot of it is Auburn City. But yes, we still have county commission in our district.
So tell us real quickly. I mean, we've been friends for a long time. I have watched you work on this post-election audit bill for years. I feel like it's like Homer's Odyssey, what we've been through together. But for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself and how in the world you and Joe Lovern got here and got this to the governor's desk yesterday.
Well, yes, like you said, we have known each other for several years now, and it was definitely a journey that started a while ago. In 22, I think it was, is when I did the copied ballots, and everybody knew me as the crazy ballot lady. So it kind of started out.
That story real quickly.
Okay, real quick. So I had my absentee ballot. I made 8 photocopies of it, took it to the public machine testing in our county, in Lee County, and ran them through the machine, and it counted all 8 copies. So actually I had video of it, and so kind of went viral real quick and got real blown up, but it was interesting because here we sit 4 years later, and nothing's been done, to my knowledge, to put into place for this not to happen ever again. So it's interesting to me that this is still what we're talking about even 4 years later. But I think, part of that is intentional with the company that we vendor with, ES&S, and I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take to finally have change. I mean, really, I think we only have 2, possibly 3 election vendors that we even have to choose from. So it's not, I mean, it's kind of like Dominion. I don't think so. We have ES&S, and then you have Hardin or Civic. And so, you know, I guess what is the worst of the three evils? I guess ES&S. So we moved forward. I did that, and that caused a lot of crazy to happen in our state, from local all the way up to the Secretary of State. And that was very crazy for a while. And then that just kind of died down, and a friend of mine who was our election official at the time, Robert, who is a lawyer as well, we decided, you know, maybe we could just write a bill about auditing, because we realized that Alabama did not audit elections, which in our opinion is pretty important. I mean, you audit a lot of things. So, but the more we kind of dug into it, we would tell certain legislators, like, hey, we have this bill, and they would just be like, oh, sounds like a great bill, move on. Well, one day I was at a Republican women's lunch, and I showed Representative Debbie Wood at the time my video, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, she only won her election in 2018 by 7 votes. So for her, it was very personal, and so she was like, you got to call me. So from there, that kind of started a journey. That was January of 23, I think it was, or maybe February, and I was like, hey, would you take this bill? I know it sounds crazy. It's the end of the election. I mean, it was halfway through the session at that point. And I was just like, hey, would you do this? And I think she was like, okay, sure, but, you know, just to satisfy me and move on, right? I don't think she really thought it would go anywhere, at least that session. Well, so we made it on a committee that year, so that was 23. 24 comes along, and the probate judges, who are our chief election officials, they really started honing in on this bill. So once it kind of got and gained traction, they're like, whoa, we don't want this. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do this work. And I'm sitting here thinking,
okay, pause. Okay. Why would they not want a post-election audit in the elections that the probate judges run to ensure that they are running properly?
That's a good question. Look, I can't ever get a clear answer from them, and they honestly fought us from day one until pretty much the day the governor signed the bill. I mean, I have not seen it.
They fought you.
Yes, pretty much all tooth and nail. I mean, they were just, and look, the bill started out pretty strong in our opinion. We felt like we had a really good bill, and a bill that was doable. Was it going to be a little, I mean, it's going to be tricky, okay? I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, because as you know, in Madison County and Morgan County, I mean, some of those larger, Jefferson County, Baldwin, they have a lot of ballots. And if you get a precinct that does have a lot, I mean, it is going to take a little bit of time. And so we kind of lost, I mean, we had to take the bill down, and, and a lot of people came hard at Representative Wood last session in 25. And, a lot of the conservative movements and stuff like that, your bill's not strong enough, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just sitting here thinking, look, we have to get something. I mean, and I was talking to people behind the scenes, and, and another former Secretary of State and I had got to know each other pretty well, and she thought it was great. And, the thing about it is it's like there's no bill that comes into that house that leaves the way, or is signed the way that it came in. I mean, that's just, you're not going to have that.
So how did you get with Joe Lovern? He carried the bill this session, and what does that bill look like, and where are we today?
So Representative Wood resigned last summer, and so when she resigned, I knew that I was, going to have to find another representative to carry it in the House that was willing to do that. So Representative Joe Lovern is my representative, actually. So Debbie is a district away from mine, and we just happened to get to know each other. But Joe, I went to him and I was like, could you please carry this? And he said yes. He never, he was always supportive to carry it. Now, I realize, like, election bills are not like you're not like patted on the back, right, around the State House because you're carrying an election bill. You know what I mean? Like, I realized that very quickly after walking those halls the last 3 sessions that, it's not a real friendly thing to do. But whatever, Joe was willing to take it. It came out of the House the first day. It passed out of the House, or the second day, I guess, because it had to go to committee first. But so then we got it to the Senate pretty quickly, but then they didn't. It took it a while. It's just interesting to me that was the first House bill to pass, but it was almost the last Senate bill to pass. because that's just how it goes. But, and Jay Hovey, Senator Hovey, who's my senator too. So it's kind of actually neat when you think about it, that it's all Lee County people, representatives that carried this bill over the finish line, and Joe's been amazing, his leadership, with this bill. And, like I said, I don't know that it was like a huge importance of everybody else, but they knew it was important to us that think this was a good bill and that it was important for Alabamians. It wasn't just about us who were bringing it or pushing it. So finally got it over the finish line. There was a little discrepancy in the last couple of days with it. Unfortunately, we lost we didn't lose. I won't say that because I'm going to take this as a win, but there was an amendment that was brought before the Senate and in the committee, and it was to take out the word random, so like random ballots, random things like that. But, I did talk to several people over the 4-day period that we were trying to decide what we were going to do with that. And we just decided, look, we'll take this because, look, passing a law is very difficult. Now, my thing is I'm not going to just stop here. It will be something that we will look at and amend, especially as the next Secretary of State comes in. It will be something that we, especially Caroline Dobson really has talked about an election task force, and I think that's much needed between the Secretary of State and the, probate judges, because the probate judges have a lot of power, y'all, in elections. And they also, as I've seen, a lot of power in persuasion of their elected officials and people killing bills, especially something like this that they were so adamantly against.
Quick question. We've got about 30 seconds, but tell us what the law does.
Okay, so real quick, you get one precinct in each county. You get one race in each county. You do count 30 hand count ballots. You cannot use a machine that was used in the election. So if they do not have a clean machine that was not used, not all counties just have a machine sitting in storage that is not used. They will have to hand count. So, for those hand counters that are really pushing that, you are going to at least now our law does allow for hand count, or at least touching the ballots, which before you couldn't do that. Once they were sealed, you'd have to have a court order to touch them. And you have electronic data that you're able to, so there's a lot of good things that I don't think everybody, to read a bill and to completely understand it, you have to take it step by step. But I do think, I'm proud, we did it, we got it to the governor's desk and it's signed into law, and we will be proud of this one.
Angela, thanks so much for joining us today. Carry on with your busy day in your car. You're so professional running a campaign. Good luck with that. Keep us posted, and we will follow along with this bill and appreciate all your hard work over these past few years.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for what you do every day.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
I want to do some research on how that bill is different from what we have now, because I know John Merrill passed a audit, but it was only in a few counties. I think it was in 3 counties, and I'm guessing hers is every county across the state, one precinct, one statewide race. People get frustrated when you don't get like every precinct and every race. Yeah, it's baby steps in Montgomery.
You got to live to fight another day.
And that's what we're doing. I'm proud of her and her work. Thank you to Joe Lovern and Jay Hovey for pushing that across. We'll be right back.
Representative in every precinct took the precinct book, and every 2 years, every door was knocked on, making sure that the books in the precincts were up to date. Since about 2002, we've just steadily lost our role as citizens. Now we wait for other people to fix our problems rather than us. We wait for other people to teach our children. We wait for other people to run our elections. We wait for other people to run our government. But America's an experiment in self-government. It's supposed to be us doing these things. How's it working out when we're letting other people teach our kids? How's it working out when we're letting other people run our government? Plato said the penalty for refusing to get involved in politics is you end up being governed by your inferiors. And here we are. You pick a random person off the street, they'd probably be better governor than the one you got. Okay, I mean, it's a bad situation.
Right.
So really, I think that's the fundamental problem: is that we the people, and this is a good thing for Alabama, but we the people have forgotten that it's our country, that we're supposed to be doing stuff. Now, in your state, you are full of people who have really good, solid values. That is refreshing when I'm here in Alabama, but because of that, you're more trusting. And because of that, when I walk into a county and say, hey, your elections are all corrupted, they look at me like, no, our clerk is great. We love her. We go to church with her. Our kids go to school together. It's like, it's
That
like,
couldn't possibly happen.
couldn't possibly happen here because we're great people, right? I mean, and I get that. But what they don't understand is the problem isn't your people. The problem is that they are subservient to a system that's being imposed on you. So, for example, if you were to go to, let's say you move into a county here. We're in Shelby, I think, right now. Let's say you walk into, I know the country by counties. Let's say you walk into a county and you say, hey, I want to get on the voter rolls. I want to register. The clerk doesn't bring out the precinct book and add you to the rolls. She logs into the state central system and adds you to the rolls. Oh, want to delete somebody from the rolls? She doesn't delete you. She logs into the state central system and deletes you from the system. She's not in control of that system. And guess where that file is? Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, so your rolls are not even here, and your clerk is not even here. It's not like she has a copy of the rolls. And so one of the things that I show in my talks, and by the way, I'm speaking tonight in Tuscaloosa, I think it is. Yeah. And I'll show a lot of this information, is if you were to take a copy of your voter rolls today, and then a week from now take another copy of your voter rolls, and compare the two, there'd be a whole bunch of names that were added and removed that your clerk didn't add and remove. Well, who did that? The state does that, and your clerk doesn't even know, though, because the numbers are similar, and so it looks to the clerk like this just kind of going along, and she's adding and removing a few over time, but she doesn't realize that it's actually going like this. And I have the copies of the rolls, so I can show them the snapshots over time, and they're like, "What?" And so they don't know that's happening, and so I show that.
So, the state, but what is making the state remove them without going through the registrars?
Good question. So it used to be Eric. I think recently you've separated from Eric, but you now have Avid. Yeah. And it's basically the same thing. I could show you in your own data. You're doing the same thing as you always did. You just changed name for political reasons.
But isn't that what you want? You want to be checking against other states' records and removing accordingly?
So it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds like, wouldn't it be great? Except that what's happened is, and I can show you, and we should put this graph when we get to that point. I can show you your own rolls over time, and I can show you that what happened is, in this graph, this is from 1980 to 2024. You had 3 million people of voting age in 1980. And it just kind of steadily climbed in your state, and now you're up to around 4 million people of voting age. See that? That's your voting age people. Here are the number of people in your rolls every 2 years, according to your Secretary of State. And a clean voter rolls should be about 70% of your voting age population. So I would say you were really clean from about 1992 up to about 2012. But then look what happened. Then your voter rolls took off. How come? Well, that's when your state started automatically adding people who get driver's license, who get a car registration, who touch any government agency, who go to jail, who get welfare. They're automatically adding people, and they're not cleaning in a commensurate fashion, so the rolls are getting dirtier. I can talk about the turnouts, but let's not do that yet. I just want you to see that the voter rolls are growing faster than your population. Dramatically faster. In fact, you got about 40% too many people in your voter rolls. So what'll happen is I'll show this to people, and they're like, what? How could we have so many names in the rolls that shouldn't be there? So what then I do is I give them a copy of their own voter rolls. They start going through them, and I always tell people, look in your own neighborhood. So we look up, it's like I'll be standing in front of a group, and I'll say, give me an address. Give me an address. And we look you up. And they'll say, wait a minute, that's my next door neighbor. Their boy hasn't lived here for 10 years. How come he's still an active voter in the rolls? In other words, the rolls are really dirty. And when I show them to them themselves, they're shocked. They don't realize how dirty it is. Now, in states like Oregon or Washington or Colorado or California, where they mail a ballot to every person, that's immediately a problem because you're mailing huge amounts of ballots out to people who aren't there. It's ridiculous. Like, I was just in a county in Colorado where they got back a fourth of the ballots undeliverable. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And hello, I don't know how we roll our chairs. It's always a thing with our chairs, with our
Widowy.
it's
What
all the
flick?
things. Hi, welcome back. This is the Right Side. I'm Amy Beth with Allison and JP. And it is time, and I genuinely hope that, well, we'll see who goes first. It's time, because it's Tuesday, to spill the tea. It is time for Allegedly.
Allegedly.
JP?
Get so excited. It's my favorite.
So I read this story this morning in the paper, and
It's already funny.
I was beside myself. And I'm curious y'all's thoughts on this. Now, I don't have my glasses on, but I'll try my best to read this
Plutus,
one.
you're so young. You don't need glasses.
Is this the Faley Rail? Oh, the Daily Mail. The dailymail.co.uk wrote this story. Missing nuclear official becomes 10th, all caps, 10th person tied to dark patterns surrounding U.S. secrets. Another person with links to America's nuclear secrets has gone missing as the disturbing list of deaths and disappearances in recent years continues to grow. This is Stephen Garcia, vanished without a trace. On August 28th, 2025, he was last seen leaving his Albuquerque, New Mexico home on foot, carrying only a handgun. Says an anonymous source told the Daily Mail that Garcia was a government contractor working for the Kansas City National Security Campus, a major facility in Albuquerque that plays a key behind-the-scenes role in America's national defense. So, 10 people, 10 scientists have now disappeared without a trace with links to these nuclear secrets. What do y'all make of this? Is this intentional? Is this just a massive coincidence that 10 people, 10 scientists have gone linked with all connections to nuclear secrets, allegedly?
Well, Clutus, I do believe that this is something worth looking into, because even if you do not have a conspiratorial mind, as some people say that we do, I would be concerned if over 3 people went missing and their mama or their spouses have not heard anything from them for days. I am very concerned. And I'm so glad you brought that story up, because y'all remember when it was only 4 people. Now it's 10. I don't know. It makes my stomach hurt.
Clutus,
Yes, ma'am.
can you restart our camera? Because our lips aren't moving at the same time
Are
as
y'all
our
fuzzy?
words are coming out.
Are y'all fuzzy?
And it makes me look look funny.
Here,
Don't-
let
Like,
me.
you know those old kung fu movies where they're like, you want to fight? Fight
Yes.
me.
Yes.
That's what it kind of looks like. And so I'm watching Phyllis, but her lips are moving funny.
I bet they are.
Here, we're gonna have to we'll restart the stream. We'll be gone for about 10 seconds. and we'll
What?
come back.
Nobody panic.
We'll be right back. Okay, we are back.
Let's see. Oh, that's so much better, I think. I don't know. I think you need your tinfoil hat for that segment. You're getting a little kooky. Now, yeah, Clutus, I mean, why would someone who has nuclear secrets need to go missing?
I don't know. It is very concerning.
I don't know, but I do know this. You couldn't disappear anybody in my little town. You would see somebody would see you getting kidnapped or getting got or something, and then they'd run down to the police on the corner and the sheriff, and it would all get settled. How do they do this 10 times? whoever they is, has some reasons to be disappearing these smart folk. And now I don't know if they're killing them or if they're just taking them away or giving them new ideas. I don't know what is going on. However, the fact that they've done this 10 times with these scientists and they all connected to nuclear secrets makes me think this ain't no coincidence. And maybe I need to get my buddy, the sheriff, on the case because he's a smart one. And clearly, these police and the local, wherever these people are being disappeared, ain't no good. They don't know their rear end from a handful of sand, obviously, if they can't find these folk. Or the people who are disappearing them are so good and powerful that they can just, and you know what? And we're not nuclear scientists. However, if we piss off the right people, I may be gone one day. Clueless I may be disappear for even talking about this.
Oh.
I'm gonna go out in the car and that'll be the last time y'all see Clueless and I'll just be gone. And you'll have to have a in memorial of Clueless in this chair and you'll have to have somebody else do the show. That's a risk I'm willing to take. But it is quite the story and it amazes me.
It is quite the story. And I hope that everything is okay. And maybe you'll have to go undercover. I don't know.
I just have one question before we move on to Phyllis. If you are seen leaving your house with a handgun, but you still get kidnapped, you need help. You're probably too smart. Your pocket protector needs to be put down and you need to go to target practice.
You need to go to the range.
But that is funny. So somebody saw him leaving with his handgun and he still done got gone.
I mean, these scientists, I don't know if they know how to use a gun.
Pow, pow. Pew, pew. Phyllis, what are you alleging today?
Well, I'm alleging that after a terrible week of terrible decisions, not terrible decisions, but, we just said a minute ago that Trump hadn't had a great week. And we've said these things before. We have. And maybe throwing Riley Gaines under the bus, our new best friend. And saying other dumb stuff, although now the Catholic Church is in it with all the Muslim kerfuffle. Guys, I would like to bring you a story full of hope and joy that Mr. Trump has done. Donald John Quavius Trump did something good. And I don't know if y'all heard about this story. It's from not the Bee, but buckle up.
Buttercup.
Yes. In a gesture of goodwill, last week, President Trump sent a large pallet of paintings to the Iranians. Do y'all know who the painter was?
I do not.
Hunter Biden?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
No way.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Yes, in a gesture of goodwill last week, President Trump sent a large pallet of paintings by the famous painter Hunter Biden to the Iranian government. It is hoped that these priceless paintings will build a bridge between the two countries in the same way the pallets of cash sent by President Barack Hussein Barrisatero Obama ushered in an era of friendship and goodwill between the great Satan and Iran. Proceeds from the sale of the paintings are expected to fully fund the rebuilding of the recently destroyed country. At press time, Kevin Morris had offered to buy all the paintings, all of them. And y'all, there was a bunch of them. Y'all remember how many of them there were? I don't. It's fine. But this man named Kevin Morris said he wanted to buy all the paintings. And do you know how much money he wanted to pay for all them paintings? $10.97. But see, that's just it. That's what they're actually worth. That's what the market will bear. But I do appreciate that President Trump did make a great decision this week, in addition to ordering DoorDash, even though that lady couldn't talk about it, beyond delivering that McDonald's. He did send a pallet of paintings made by the famous Hunter Biden to Iran. And maybe after all, there's hope and we'll have a peace deal. Y'all need to stay tuned.
That's actually really, really funny. That just
I hoped you would think so, Amma.
gets my goat.
You know, it got my goat too, my tiny pygmy fainting goat.
I can just imagine whoever was running Iran, Ayatollah number 7, whoever.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in their compound and they say, "What is that smell? What is that?" It's, "Well, Mr. Mueller, we have a package from President Trump." "What did he send? It reeks in there." "Well, Mr. Ayatollah, it is the paintings from Hunter Biden. He used his feces to paint these paintings, and he sent this to you as a..."
Is that what he used to paint?
Oh, yes.
What?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. He did, along with some of those dot
No.
paintings he painted.
What's a ...
Well, he just did little baby finger painting looking ones that were absolutely atrocious, and they never sold. Shocker. But he did use fecal material. And also on top of the fecal material, I'm wondering if as they unlocked it, you know, and as they opened up the stanky package, that perhaps as one time my husband bought a guitar off the interwebs and had it sent to the house, and we opened the package and it reeked of weed, if the package also reeked of fecal material and weed at the same time.
Does meth have a smell?
It smells like death.
Meth?
I can ask my cousin. He knows that sort of stuff.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. But I wonder, because that's a great point, JP. It probably reeked all the way into the palace as they unlocked that pallet of materials. Use quick, Clutus. Use real quick. I'm a rose bush.
Hold on, let me fix my hair.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy today.
Oh, I think it looks real pretty.
Let me
Did you get it done recently?
No, I use my... Oh, I did.
You did? Did you go to the beauty shop?
Yeah, you remember that day I said I won't be here.
I remember. It looks real good.
And then I texted in and said, "Hey."
I know her name wasn't Malin like in that
Steel Magnolias.
Steel Magnolias, but she did a real good job, honey.
Thank you.
Okay.
So allegedly,
yes,
apparently, unfortunately, Mo Brooks is back in the news.
Oh no.
You know, it's funny you say no, because there are a lot of people that don't really like Mo Brooks. He is a contentious character. And I get it. He's not very fun to hang out with. In fact, he's in my phone as No Mo. Because you're like, "Mo, you want to go get ice cream?" He's like, "No." "Mo, you want to go play with puppies?" "No." It's just always no with Mo. And so I understand people are like, "I don't really like that No Mo." But what No Mo is really, really good at,
yes,
are the details. And No Mo doesn't miss much. And he has come out with a banger of an article. He has done some deep diving into the Alabama's elections. And here is the Alabama Gazette. Here's the title, and then we'll dig into the details of No Mo. The $4 million Alabama gambling syndicate. Mo Brooks exposes the Staples store. Shadow government.
Staples store?
Oh.
That Staples store?
It used to be the post office.
Yes.
You know, remember when we was growing up, you go to the post office, you see everybody. Well, now apparently, allegedly, it's the Staples store. It's embarrassing when you crack yourself up. Okay, let me put my glasses on. So he released a staggering investigative report uncovering $4 million into Alabama's political landscape. He says the architecture of the syndicate is an Alexandria mailbox. Well, where is that mailbox? In a Staples store. And it's weird. So there are 2 packs that are using the same mailbox in that Staples store in Alexandria that are running campaign ads in Alabama. And apparently, allegedly, the financial records of these PACs, which have really good names. It's the American Conservative Fund and the Win America PAC. Who doesn't love America? Who doesn't love conservative? And we want to win, right? Well, apparently, allegedly, these PACs are being run through a dark money funnel system through that Staples mailbox for Sports Betting Alliance and the Draft Kings. Yeah. It's dirty money going through that Staples store. And it is it's landing right in your mailbox. So when you get the ads and it says conservative, well, let me go back. It says American Conservative Fund. It ain't conservative. It's gambling. It's dirty, dirty money. And you need to wad it up and throw it away. Because what Nomo is saying, he's saying they're supporting key legislators. And he names names.
Ooh.
He says that in Senate District 34, they are challenging incumbent Rusty Glover, who is a staunch conservative, and they are backing Doug Harwell Jr. in the primary. And then in House District 1, they are supporting Philip Pettis. And in House District 50, they are actively recruiting Bill Morris to challenge the seat in that district. Now that's Jim Hill. And he is retiring. I saw him on Capitol Journal, and he was given tips to the next person that comes in as a committee head.
Oh, I saw that on the
You
TV.
see
as
that?
Oh,
well.
I did not see that. Why didn't y'all tell me?
I was trying to find Wheel of Fortune, and I stopped and I watched that interview.
Yeah.
Mhm.
On that 1980s set that they have down there at
Yes.
Capitol Journal.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, he was on there. So anyway, he's going bye-bye, but they're supporting Bill Morris. I wonder if he's related to the cigarette people. Isn't that to Bill Morris?
Oh, I think maybe the Philip Morris.
Oh,
I
Philip.
bet Bill is his cousin.
Allegedly.
What about William?
Allegedly.
Isn't there a William
There is a
Morris?
William Morris, and that's the William Morris Agency. It's a
Maybe-
famous talent agency out in the Los Angeles area.
Well, I mean, smoking and casinos do go together.
They do.
Allegedly.
They do, Alma.
And then in Senate District 20, there are lots of money going into that Senate district. But, here's the thing. I don't know if this is illegal because people use what they call dark money all the time. I mean, you can have a 501c4. You can have a PAC. But this money is predatory money. And that's what the people of Alabama need to understand. That this money that the gambling industry is pumping into Alabama. I don't know where these things come from. Is dirty.
That's dirty.
And it will change the landscape of our beautiful state overnight. Because honestly, you can't compete with these people. And once they have a stronghold in Montgomery, you think it's bad now. Oh, girl.
Go on.
You watch out. Me and you, little JT over there, little Clutus, we won't have a say. Because that money's going to be raining down.
It will be raining down
All
like a
over
monsoon.
that dungeon in that state house. And those legislators are going to be running up and down the halls. Give me more.
It's true. You're telling the
Anywho.
truth, Alma.
Now I have a question.
No
though.
more.
Yes.
Why would they use a Staples store?
Oh, they are so deceptive, don't you think? They wouldn't think nobody would go in the Staples store to run a pack out of.
I mean, you just got to have a P.O. box. You don't send it. You got to put, apparently, allegedly, the guy's name that's on the pack is Bill Smith. Could you get any more boring than that? But you send it to a P.O. box because you definitely don't want people coming to your home and they don't have an office. So it just goes, Staples has a P.O. box. But if you see those two packs, like an advertisement, you can assure it's not conservative. It's the gamblers.
I will say this. I would love for MAGA Mo to be my financial accountant, my financial accountability buddy, because my wife is constantly using the credit card or whatever she wants, and she won't listen to me. However, MAGA Mo, no Mo, he don't miss a dang thing. And he could come with a list of everything we spending money on, and maybe my wife will listen to No Mo, MAGA Mo. Also, I want MAGA Mo to fix my gutter, because I think there's been about 4 or 5 times we've done interviews with MAGA Mo, and he's been, I'm on the ladder fixing the gutter. I'll step off for a sec. We'll talk. Every time he's doing something. I guess that's the retired life. If he wins, he's not going to have time to do that no more. But I'll say I need him to be my financial accountability buddy for Miss Clutis, but also I got a gutter that needs fixed. Before you allegedly maybe go into the House of Representatives in the state, fix my gutter, please.
Hey, don't forget, and I think he may run out of time for this too, but he likes to go to his grandchildren's basketball games.
He does.
He said he did. So you got to have to plan your time wisely, sir, if you win.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Allegedly, he's going to be an investigative reporter now, too.
That is so interesting.
Really?
Well, I mean, he did this
Oh,
investigation.
that's true. He's going to,
Yeah.
There's more where that came from, I'm sure.
I think when Nomo gets on a trail, he picks up a scent, he doesn't stop.
Nomo the Bloodhound.
So we definitely need to keep paying attention.
We do.
And always ask questions.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Could you imagine MAGA Mo, No Mo going into the Staples stores? I want to talk to your supervisor. Find me who I need to talk to. He's got a sheet. I need to talk to somebody about this. And it's some like teenager that works part-time. He's like, sir, I don't know what you're talking about.
But Nomo would be like Alabama Code Section 47-78BQ2S LGBTQIA plus says
it's true.
You can't have a Staples mailbox.
It's true.
Anywho, there's a lot going on. It'll be fun until May 19th.
Look alert, people.
Buckle up. That's all I got.
Okay.
Allegedly.
That's so good, JP.
I never liked Riley Gaines. I think I just said right. I never liked Riley Gaines.
Still okay. You're fine. You're hilarious.
I just don't. I can't talk about that with Riley Gaines because it makes me sad. She's the coolest, most down to earth.
Ridiculous.
Just choose anybody else, Donnie.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Chippy.
Scotty. Okay. That is the second time in 1 minute we have said the same word at the same time. All right.
Red room.
Quickly. Oh, my word. Quickly. JP, how many minutes do we have?
5.
Oh, good.
5.
Okay. Do we want to quickly have the SNAP benefit discussion before you give us a would you rather?
What do you think, Allison?
I think so.
Or would you? Okay.
I'm just curious. Real quickly, we'll frame it up from yesterday, and then I'll ask the question. I want y'all to talk. Alabama and I think 22 other states have passed laws restricting what you can buy on SNAP. Now, currently in Alabama, after this law is passed, you cannot buy anything with like sugar listed as the first or one of the first 2 ingredients, high fructose corn syrup. So that's like candy and sodas, etc. Now, what you also can't buy on SNAP is a rotisserie chicken, which is insane. But is this, for y'all, is this government overreach? Like, I mean, what they say it has to do with obesity. Well, you can get fat on lots of things. Or is this the government doing their job to help with, it goes back to healthcare costs. It goes back to just protecting your citizens, I guess. Which way do you see this?
Let's add the chicken. Number 1. Number 2, obesity. Are we the second fattest state compared to Mississippi? And I think if you broke down, and I'm sure there's stats on it, who is obese using SNAP, because we're paying for that too. Not only are we paying for SNAP, but we're also paying for their healthcare benefits. And so I think when you have a Medicaid and a SNAP benefit card, those two things are going to go together. Then I do believe we have the opportunity and responsibility to put better parentheses around what beneficiaries can and cannot buy. Because we know that healthcare costs are more expensive the more obese that you are. So the least we could do is help them to get healthy. First, add the rotisserie chicken. But we're paying for all of it. So I don't believe in this situation it's government overreach. Now we get more into the weeds, maybe. But because we are responsible for it, and also just based off the response of people on SNAP not being able to get their sweet tea, shows me that I don't think we did a good job before of what we allowed to be purchased on SNAP benefits. But the other problem, and this is where the government's going to have to do a deal, is it is cheaper to buy fat foods. It is cheaper to buy white bread. It is cheaper to buy Little Debbie's. It is cheaper to buy the tea. It's cheaper. So we also then, at the same time as we're adding the chicken and increasing their health food options, is we also have to unshackle farmers, and they're subsidizing. They're also chained by what they can and can't grow. So it's actually a discussion that's unearthing other things that need to take place.
So let me clarify that you're asking if it's government overreach for the government to say what you can and cannot get with SNAP, correct?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would argue it's government overreach to have SNAP at the levels it is to begin with the amount of SNAP recipients there are. I think that is the government overreach, that we are paying and subsidizing people, not all of them, but a lot of people that can work and should be working, that are using it as a hammock instead of a trampoline.
That's
so
good.
I think that is the real government overreach. I think if you are going to use our money as taxpayers to feed yourself, I don't think it's too much to ask that, yeah, you shouldn't be getting candy and all this awful things for your kids, especially who need the food. But yeah, I think if you're going to actually need it and use our money for it, I think it's perfectly reasonable to be selective, and you can only buy certain things that are good for you. I think that's reasonable. If we're gonna have SNAP at the levels it's at the very least, don't be going and getting sweet tea instead of actual food for your kids.
I guess you can still buy a lot of bad stuff. You can still buy Little Debbie's. You can still buy chips. I just want to know where it ends. But hey, if you go get a job and make your own money, you can buy whatever you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, yep. I do think it's crazy you can't buy a rotisserie chicken.
That's insane.
It is.
Actually.
Tomorrow, super excited. We have Senator Tommy Tuberville coming on at 10:15. That will be a great interview. Tomorrow is Hot Flash News, The 3, and General Mayhem as usual. We'll see y'all then.